In this video, I'm going to go through the steps that I use to set up a new plan9 VM and then set up, for example, the legmacs text editor on there. I have this document that goes through all the steps, and this is going to be assuming a Linux environment. Here I'm on Ubuntu. There's a couple of prerequisites. Number one is you'll have to install UV, so that's the command right here. UV is needed for the P9QEMU utility. P9QEMU itself was going to use QEMU, so there's a command here for how to install QEMU on Ubuntu. And then finally, to install P9QEMU, it's just you run a UV tool install with this. Here's the full command. You will need draw term. Here I'm using my fork of draw term, but feel free to use the 9 front draw term if you'd like. If you want to run legmacs in a GNOME terminal, you will need my fork of draw term. There's also a couple of changes in this fork of draw term which make things look crisper on Wayland. Okay, that's it for the prerequisite software. So now let's get to actually setting up the plan9 VM. Okay, so in the terminal, I'm here in my home directory. I have a directory VM for just kind of VM virtual machine experiments. I've got a folder here, test 0 to legmacs. So here we're going to run p9qemu image create. We've got the full URL to the image we want to use and the name of the resulting VM. I'm just going to call it checkpoint 000. So I'm going to hit enter there. I've already used this image, so it's instead of downloading it, it's just using the cached local version. And once it's done, we have our instance there. Now I call it checkpoint, and I'm considering that read-only. I'm never going to modify that, or my intention is to not modify it. So I'm going to copy that into a folder dev. So this way we will have the checkpoint and then the dev instance, and the dev VM is the one we're going to use. Okay, so with that command, we used p9qemu to establish a new VM. We used p9qemu image create, and now we're going to use p9qemu to start that instance, and I'm specifying a host address of 127.0.0.40, or the host forward address. All right, give that a second to come up. All right, here's the QEMU console, and here P9QEMU is just letting us know what it started, as well as the full QEMU command that it's using to start the VM. Okay, so it's fully booted here. I'm just going to minimize the console. I didn't run this in the background, so I'm just going to leave that there and minimize that as well. All right, so I have another terminal open, and this is what I'm going to use to draw term in to that instance. Here you can see we're specifying the IP address, and there's just a demo password that it's using, and I'm going to run Rio. So let's hit enter on that. The draw term window comes up. I'm just going to resize it. Okay, now I have a small utility called get9 that makes building and installing easier software on plan9 a little bit more straightforward. And this is the one-liner I'm going to use for that. So we're just making a home directory, or sorry, a directory in our home directory called src. I'm going to clone the get9 repository there, and I just start webfs and then run the git clone after that. So I'm going to hit enter there, and it's really it's not a large repository, so that happens really fast. Okay, so with get9, I'm going to install Go. So I'll hit enter there. It's downloading the official binary package from the Go language project. So I'll let that run. And let that do its thing. Okay, so that finished setting up, and it's just letting us know to open up a new draw term if we want to have access to Go, because it basically the binds are done via our profile, so that'll run next time we log into draw term. Okay, next step, I'm going to install the certificates. So also using the get9 repository. So I'll hit enter there, and that's a really fast one. All right, so again, using get9, I'm going to install letgo. Now this is actually going to build it's going to check out letgo from GitHub, and it's going to build it using Go. So this does take a little while. So I'm going to hit enter there, let it do its thing. All right, it's basically cloning the repository. And then we're building. And then, okay, I'll let that run. Okay, next I'm going to install VT-alt. I've talked about that in a different video. It's basically a fork of VT that has some changes that allow legmacs to run and work properly. All right, so we're gonna run that, and that's also really fast when it builds and installs. Doesn't take long at all. Okay, and now finally we're also going to install legmacs. So hit enter there. Okay, so as I mentioned, I'm going to start a new instance of drawterm so that all of our binds for the bin directory is set up. All right, so I'm back in my terminal. Just going to run another Rio. Now I've got 2 copies of Rio. So yeah, so here you can see I've got the original version of Rio. It's perfectly fine, or yeah, the original instance of drawterm. It's perfectly fine to have multiple drawterm instances. So here's my second one, and I will open up another terminal. All right, so in this new instance, we should be able to see things like Go. So I'll just do Go version. All right, run LG to run legmacs. Okay, that's working as expected. And then finally, let's try legmacs. So I'll just type legmacs, and there you can see it's running. Now this is running inside VT-alt. So if you well, you just try things out. Make some windows. If you exit, okay, well, it exited. I hit Control X, Control C, and you couldn't even see that it exited. But basically, now if I hit enter, you can see it's not in legmacs anymore. So we can exit from VT-alt by right-click and do exit. Now we're back at the terminal. And you can also run legmacs and pass it a file. So there we'll look at CPURC. All right, and then once you're done and you want to shut down your VM, just do fs halt and give it a moment. The drawterm will close, and so will the QEMU console. Okay, thank you for watching.